So I've been playing Rematch quite a lot recently. I've actually logged 2 days on it already, which for me personally at this point is actually quite a lot of game time. For someone who doesn't have a lot of time to game, 2 days, 4 weeks after a game comes out, it's quite a lot, and I think that shows how much fun I've had personally with Rematch and how good of a game it is at its core. It also shows, I think, how much of a drop-off EAFC 25 has been. I honestly think FC 25 is probably the worst FIFA ever. Yeah, I've just completely fallen off it, and it was Rematch or Football Manager, and I decided to give Rematch a go, and it has been fun. It's been really good fun. I'm very glad the game exists. I am a massive fan of pro clubs. I've been playing pro clubs for 12, 13 years with my mates. But I don't play it on FC25 because it has so many issues and the game has so many issues. But Rematch itself is really fun. I feel like I'm at a point now where it's like I have played it enough to understand its positives, but also understand its negatives. And it has loads of good positives. The gameplay is really fun, but I want to talk about the things I feel like it needs to fix initially for the game to actually have some sort of staying power, because it is a limited game, and the game has actually come out as they've literally got it on the home screen as this is season 0, not season 1, season 0. It feels like a beta, really. It feels like an early access game, and that's good and a bad thing, right? The game itself is super fun, and if this is the complete beginning of what will eventually evolve into a fully fledged game, that's a really good sign for the future of the game. And also for football games generally as well, because we all know that EA needs some competition. However, it's obviously lacking a lot. It doesn't feel like a full game, and I play this on Game Pass, but I know some people have paid 20, 25 quid for this game, so I can understand why you'd be a bit annoyed about that, considering how light on features and modes the game is. There's a few things that I want to talk about which I feel like they need to address as a priority. Number one being the lag. There's some quite bad desync in the game, and this affects in a game that's all about precision. Even as you're trying to get the ball, if you can be really close to the ball, and if you don't time it very well, or you're not completely in line with the ball will just roll past you, even though it feels like it should lock on. Now, I don't know if that's how the game's designed, or if it's just to do with the lag and the game's not picking up the fact that you are next to the ball. And it is quite similar to Rocket League in that sense. Not that I ever really played Rocket League, but I'm curious to know, is that how Rocket League worked? Did it have to be completely precise? Because I do feel like it's a bit harsh in the sense of, you can run to go get the ball and it just rolls past you, and it makes you look really stupid. So some of the issues, it's hard to tell. Is it due to desyncing lag, or is it actually just the game's meant to do this and it's not doing it because of the lag and the desync? I don't know. It's really hard to tell at this point. It's the same with goalkeeping. Goalkeeping is so inconsistent, and it even down to you can't decide. You can't choose which corner to jump. To dive into, so you can't dive bottom left, bottom right. You just dive left, and the goalkeeper will decide contextually which height it's going to dive at. And sometimes you'll dive the right way, but the goalkeeper will go top left and the ball will go bottom left, and then you look stupid and you concede a goal. And it's not actually anything you've done, but I imagine it's something to do with the lag, in that the game isn't picking up and align with what's actually happening. So that is a really big issue with the game. I've not had too many problems with lag, but recently, I would probably say the last week, it has been quite bad. And when it is bad, it's really bad. It's as bad, if not worse, than classic FIFA lag. And in a game that, it's just because it relies so much on precision. The game is completely manual, which is one of the reasons I absolutely love it, because the learning curve is very steep, and because it's completely manual and it's all about precision, any type of mistake that you make is amplified, and then obviously the lag makes that even worse, because you might be doing the right thing but the game isn't picking up on that. So that needs to be a priority for me. However, it's probably because they just didn't expect so many players. They didn't expect the game to be so popular, which is a great thing, you know. The fans have obviously taken to the game, and the devs just expected it to be a much smaller game. So, you know, there's pros and cons to that, but they definitely need to work on it. Very strange there isn't a rematch feature in a game called Rematch. Like, I've played completely solo, and it's very strange that, you know, you can finally match with 4 other players who actually pass the ball, who communicate, that sort of thing, but you can't just click a button and rematch with them. It's very frustrating. It doesn't make any sense to me. And there's just little things where it's just like, why wasn't this in the game in the first place? Like, is it that early access, you know? But yeah, it's a game called Rematch. It hasn't got a rematch button. Very strange. So hopefully that gets put in as well. One of the main things that they need to do is work on the lack of communication options. Because at the moment, all you've got is good job. You've got, we got this, thanks, and sorry. And they all come across really patronising if used in the wrong way. I don't know why there aren't more options, and I don't know why you can't customise the wheel, or maybe even like hold the wheel and, you know, get different options. There's so many different ways you can do it, but the long and short of it is we need more communication options, because the games can turn extremely quickly, like extremely toxic quickly, because you accidentally use the wrong button, or, you know, even just like you're trying to be encouraging, but what you said is perceived in the wrong way. Like, if you say good job and you're actually trying to like say good job, but it's perceived as like sarcasm or patronizing, and then what happens is people's behavior is dictated by how they've perceived your communication, and it can spiral, and then before you know it, the game's been ruined. Which is a shame, because it's such a simple fix. So they really need to get more communication options in. I'm not a game developer, but I don't know why you can't just add in some more text options. I don't know why there can't be like a live chat as well for PC players, where you can just communicate a bit better. Barely anyone's using mics, and the ones that I have heard use mics have been like really awful, like super racist, yeah, just vile, really. So there also needs to be a better report system. I would love it if there was some sort of like rating system as well, where you could, you know, I know it's hard to implement in these games, because you can, you know, people can get bullied out of games, and they might be trying, but they're not just be very good, that sort of thing. But it would be great if there was some sort of system where, you know, if someone continuously just doesn't play the game properly in a game where teamwork is so vital, if you could rank those players or rate those players in some way. But yeah, it definitely needs a better reporting system, because yeah, some of the stuff that's said is just not on, really. So yeah, that's where I sort of feel like Rematch is at. Like, those are the immediate concerns. I mean, the developers have already come out and said, like, they are a very small team, and it does seem like they're completely overwhelmed with how big the player base is, and the demands of the player base, the demands on the servers. So it's really great in that regard, but also they have seemed to say that they're not going to make like loads of progress this year. Between now and Christmas, they've already put out, like, you know, certain things they're working on. One of them is crossplay, obviously on the servers as well. So I don't think we're going to see like a massive evolution in the game this year. But if they can get to, say, Christmas, like, just managing my expectations realistically, I think if you can get to like Christmas and the game's like way more polished, we've got some more communication options, and then basically between Christmas and, say, next summer, they can start actually adding in more modes and that kind of stuff. I think the game will be in a really good place. It's also going to be really interesting to see how FC 26 looks when it comes out. Like, FIFA, EA have just been on a downward curve for the last 5 years in terms of the quality of the release, so which is really good for Rematch. And, you know, if FIFA actually put out a game with 2K or whatever they're doing with the actual FIFA. So yeah, that'd be interesting if the new FC 26 is really good, and they have like gone all in on pro clubs, which is extremely unlikely, but they improve that mode. that will obviously take players away from games like Rematch, but at the moment, like, clubs on FC25 is really poor, the gameplay is really poor, the game in general has lost a lot of players, so this is like a perfect time to release a game like Rematch. So I hope they take advantage of it, basically, because it is a really fun game. It's a really, really fun game, for all its flaws, and, you know, the fact that it's, you know, obviously very early stage and all that kind of stuff. I've had some really good times on Rematch, and when you get like a team together who actually wants to work together and communicate and pass the ball and play properly, it's like a game that I've been begging basically EA to make and to implement into FIFA and EAFC for like the last 10 years. Just create a really good, hard to play, like, manual football game that actually feels like football. So yeah, it's I think the future looks bright. It's going to be I'm super curious to see like where we're at, say, Christmas, but I just really hope they get the support they need, they get the patience they need from the fan base, and the game is still alive and kicking in 6 months.